on season 7, and I got back on the show, crushed the course, like was gonna be a top female, and then blew my ACL out on the course, so I couldn't finish the rest of it. I was just so upset because I felt like my identity was placed on all these things that I had, and then all of a sudden in 1 second, like it was all gone. Will people only love me if I have that? I know that sounds so wild, but you need to learn to love yourself without all those different things.
Yeah. How did pull-ups become your niche and your thing?
So it literally came from women saying when they'd see me, oh man, I just want to be able to do one pull-up. And then what I realized was when I was teaching them is that they had all these like limiting beliefs. And then when they finally got it, it just opened up so much for them. It was like a gateway. So I saw that emotion and I felt that emotion. And I was like, this feels like this is what I need to do because it's more than the pull-up.
Angela, what's happening? This has been a long time coming.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
We've got a fellow New Jerseyan turned Austinite. Love that. So we've got that in common. I think at Barton Springs you told me that because that was the first time that we had met because you, Harry, and Delaney all knew each other. And then I think I met you one time when we hung out at Barton Springs. And I followed your Instagram account. I'm like, all right, and she's the pull-up queen too. So it's perfect.
Not a lot of people know that I'm from Jersey because I've been so many different places. But then some people will be like, no, we could tell. Like you got the Jersey vibe. I'm like, what's the Jersey vibe? What does that mean?
Give them a little attitude back. Like,
I guess a little bit. I don't know. I'm pretty nice.
You are nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more of like maybe like energy and focus and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know,
probably
that drive.
that East Coast vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the East Coast vibe stands out a little bit in Austin, I feel like.
Yeah, we hustle.
The
It's
East
like
Coast edge.
Yeah.
we hustle. Everyone else here is a little more common, probably a little slower with things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like they just kind of go at their own pace. We're like, now we got to get done tomorrow.
Yeah.
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 Well, even at Dr. Gabrielle's event, and you're the reason why we got connected to Dr. Gabrielle, so thank you. It was like all New York people there, I think. You were like, these are all my old New York friends.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's fantastic. Everyone in there is fantastic. But yeah, definitely a little bit more of a hustle culture on the East side.
Yeah.
I think that's why we love Austin so much. I think
Yeah.
because Austin's a little like for us, we're like, oh, we kind of need to chill out a bit.
Yeah. There's like there's a lot of opportunity to like come in and make stuff happen.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you think of Dr. Gabrielle Lyon's event?
Wow, I thought her event was incredible. I think one of the biggest things from that event is that it was so easy to absorb a lot what they were saying. The doctors coming up and giving all their knowledge. I think so many times it can get really confusing. Like people don't really understand. Okay, cool, you're telling us something, but we don't understand the why. Like, why did that happen? And I think they just made it so easily digestible. Every single person who went up there, like I left there already having a ton of things that I could bring back to my clients, which I thought was great in a really easy to understand way, because we can overcomplicate saying all these things, but getting down to exactly what the root cause is and things that people can do is so important. I think scientists, again, sometimes just a lot of words, and I'm like, what does that mean?
The word salad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Totally.
that's the thing with events is like the quality of speaker is so important, and someone might have like be a renowned name and be really smart, but if they don't know how to speak in an easily digestible way, it just becomes really boring. But she did such a good job, I think, of like hand selecting guests, not just with health, but also business and wealth as well, which was really cool. And then also just the networking component of it. There were so many just awesome people that were there. So I feel like it checked all the boxes for an amazing event.
Yeah, I think it was definitely, and hands down, I've been to a lot of events. I think it was my favorite event that I've been to.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we need to get into your backstory a little bit, but before we do, I wanted to say, we have to give a quick shout out to Delaney, because I feel like he's the reason why we actually know each other. And then we've since gotten to hang out a bunch. But I want to say this because Delaney and I would always just like be in the gym at the same time and never talk to each other for like months. And then we finally just like talked in the sauna, and he was talking about No Tox, his app, and just seeing like his progression from that to what he's doing now has been so cool. And he's obviously your roommate and boyfriend. So just love him. He's the man. So
for sure. I
Delaney.
think that sounds exactly like where you'd meet Delaney.
Yeah.
I met him at that gym too. We were friends. We probably didn't talk that much, and then we wound up dating like a year later, but for sure.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and he's also coming on the pod, but you beat him on. You've been on the pod
beat
first.
him.
So.
I'm like,
we couldn't let that happen.
Competition.
Yeah. But we're so pumped for this episode because, you know, we primarily talk about nutrition, which I'm sure we'll get into with you, but you have such an interesting backstory. So 5-time Ninja Warrior.
Actually, 6. I don't feel like changing it on all my stuff.
No, change it.
So it's actually, I'm like, that's going to take a lot. So it's actually 6, but yeah, I haven't changed it anywhere yet.
Dang.
5-time Ninja Warrior. 6-time Ninja Warrior. Just screwed that up. Were you collegiate gymnast?
is a collegiate gymnast.
What else? There's so many things.
3-time cover girl, which is really exciting. I was Miss Fitness America 2016, which was a huge accomplishment for me. I was a former gym owner, so all the different things. And now I do everything online. But a lot of big titles.
And now pull-up coach.
And now I focus on just helping women get their pull-up.
Well, even before all that too, I remember some of the things that we've talked to and gone a little bit deeper on is your story from like when you're in college too, like studying medicine, right?
Yeah. So actually I was a biochemist for like 3 years before any of these things happened. I don't really know why I chose biochemistry. I think it was because my parents told me that being a personal trainer wasn't actually a career. So I just had to like think of something, the next thing that I thought I had some kind of interest in. So definitely, so worked as a biochemist, worked at Brown University. That was actually one of my favorite things at Brown University because we were creating compounds to help prostate cancer. So I was literally like cooking. Like when you see like Breaking Bad, like I was that girl with the goggles, like cooking with the stuff, making compounds, testing them and things along those lines. And then I was hoping to get my PhD in it, but there was just something in the universe that didn't want that to happen because I took that GRE test over and over again. I was super smart. I had everything, but I could not do well on them. So I applied to all these places, did not get in. And then I got super, super frustrated. And I was like, I'm just going to go into large scale pharmaceuticals because you can make bank. I'm like, I'm going to make money. I'm going to go to pharmaceuticals. And I was super upset because when I started working in large scale, I just realized like how much they don't care about the people. And what I realized is a lot of the reason I got into that was because I did want to help people, right? At Brown, you're trying to, create this compound to help prostate cancer. So I feel like I really am moving a step forward. Whereas when you're in pharmaceuticals, they're like, let's make it. We're making it. Here's like the SOP. This is what you read. And it didn't feel like I was an actual human there. So I wound up quitting that. And that's when I opened my gym. So definitely completely different side of my life was, and when I say pharmaceuticals too, by the way, I was hazmat suited in. So I mean like full pharmaceutical hazmat suit, working from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., huge tanks. I'm like wrenching the tanks.
Wow.
My parents are like, what are you doing? I'm like wrenching tanks. I'm like, I like literally am like the handiest person at the house now between me and Delaney because I'm like, I learned that. Learned those skills.
I didn't realize that I thought you meant pharmaceutical sales. So pharmaceutical, okay.
Like I was making it.
You were legit.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Like when I say tanks,
coat?
like they put me in the tank so small. They're like, we can put you in there so you can like clean it.
Yeah.
And like that's where they would mix up the drugs.
Yeah, for us,
well.
we were making the place was called Genzyme. We were making something called Fabrazyme, which is a drug for Fabry's disease, which is actually a disease where I'm lisping it, but where you actually can't sweat, which is a problem. So
Really?
so it was this compound that we were making for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so crazy too, even just like, because obviously when you connect the dots backwards, everything that happened was meant to happen because it's put you in this amazing situation. But the fact that like you can have like great grades, be so into what you're doing, and then one test determines whether or not you can get your PhD. Like it's so ridiculous that one variable like that is so impactful.
It made me feel like not smart.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel stupid. I don't understand. This is not the way that I work. But let me tell you, like hands-on making things, had it down.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because working at Brown, there was a lot of people who were really smart, like book smart, but they could not work with their hands like I could. And it was so interesting. They come in like, with their, chin up, like I'm all better. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like let's pipette this. And they like, can't do it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like everyone has their own, things that are good for them and that work for them. And I was just so frustrated because I'm like, am I stupid? Like, I swear I know a lot. I just can't figure this. I think it was also just the tests are stupid. I'm like, this is a stupid test.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's more testing for like memorization a lot of times than it is for actually being able to be like intuitive and learn and relearn and then like apply it. Like I always felt like those tests weren't really testing intelligence.
No, definitely not at all. I definitely think that you learn more from like doing instead of sitting in a book and studying this test on like words and weird math problems. I'm like, I don't understand.
So you get out of pharmaceuticals and then you open up a gym. So you must have been pretty young to be a gym owner, right?
Super young.
How old were you?
I think I was like 22.
Wow,
That's wild.
Ridiculous. And I don't know why this is probably the wrong way to say it. In my head, I'm like, I don't know why. If I look back now, like, why did I open a gym? I definitely had no experience in like running a business. But what had happened was I was actually, during the pharmaceutical time, I was training for Miss Fitness America. So that was, doing, if you don't know Miss Fitness America, it used to be on ESPN like back in the day. But basically, I do a gymnastics routine on the stage, we're flipping around. Then you do the posing like bodybuilding, where you're out in heels, you're showing off your body, and then you do an interview. So it's kind of like, it's definitely like Miss America, but like you're like super fit, into fitness, and all those different things. And that's where I really learned how to actually eat properly, right? Because as a college athlete, I just worked out like 2 times a day doing my gymnastics routines with my coach. And then after that, I had no idea how to gym.
Definitely.
I'm like, what's a gym?
Yeah.
Like my coach has just been telling me to show, like we were just doing routines, all those different things. And now you're telling me that I need to go in this gym and I need to like work out. I had no idea how to do it. So it was a perfect transition to teach me how to like eat right, actually go to the gym, like what that next piece is and keep me going. But as I was doing that, people at the pharmaceutical place were just like, you look really good, like you're eating really well, like how are you doing that? So I started to teach them how to do it, and I realized that wow, like I'm actually helping more people directly by just telling them how I'm eating and showing them the things that I'm learning. So what's interesting is I did that, and then I wanted to help more people. So there's a gymnastics gym that I was like teaching at, and I decided that I was going to try and teach the parents of the kids I was coaching, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So I would stay after I taught all the kids, and the parents would come in, and I would teach them like workout classes in the gymnastics gym, because it was a perfect place to do it, perfect place to start. And I literally started with like 0 people. And then I was like, when I quit, I'm like, oh no, like how am I going to make money? Like nobody's showing up to my classes. And then sticking through it for that same one person for a long time. And all of a sudden it was 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. And then all of a sudden I had so many people that the next obvious thing to do is open a gym. Everyone's like, when are you going to open your gym? When are you going to open your gym? When are you going to open your gym? So I was like, sure, let's do it. Let's open a gym, because I thought that I was just going to, be only training people. That's the only thing I thought when I was doing that. I had no idea that opening a gym meant you're running a business.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff that goes into running a business besides just like training the clients.
Was it gymnastic style gym? Is that what it was? Or was it kind of like a bodybuilding style gym with weights?
It was actually more functional training.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So you're in there, you've got like, a lot of the rigs, very much if you've ever been, you guys go to Squatch, very much like Squatch, having some like ninja things hanging from the ceiling, like just fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
But typically just more of like a functional training type center.
Got it.
How long did it take you to get the gym from like concept and parents being like, when are you going to start this gym, to actually like opening it up?
Honestly, I think I kind of was forced to do it pretty quickly, because as soon as like my reach started expanding, I had a lot of people. The woman who I was renting from the gymnastics gym, she was absolutely amazing. But then she was like, you're making money. You got to give me more money. And I'm like, shh. So I'm like, I have to figure that out. So I really, within a couple of months, after I had like been running it there, I think for like a year and a half, I just was searching. I asked a lot of people, like just talk to a lot of people. Hey, do you know anybody with a space? Anyone with a space? And I honestly opened it with like nothing in it. Like there was nothing in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just really wild.
I love the gym story, because it's like, I feel like most people get caught up with just having an idea and never actually acting on it. But it sounds like you actually like literally didn't think twice about it. We're just like, I'm just going to get a space.
Yeah. I'm a very messy action girl. Like I don't think about anything. I'm just like, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
I'm going to do it and like figure it out as I go. I think that's what's probably part of my superpower is honestly, I'm just going to do it.
Yes.
And I'm going to do it super messy, and I'm not going to have anything figured out, but I know I'm smart enough. Like I'm just going to make it happen somehow.
Yes. Messy action is 1,000 times more productive than like the perfectionist overthinker that ends up doing nothing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The person who's just waiting for the perfect opportunity, the perfect moment, the perfect space, having enough money to bring all this stuff in there. I was like, nah, like literally the people came for me, right? So it's like I could have an empty room and we're going to make it work, and we're going to have a ton of fun with it. And as I grow and as I started buying things, like they were growing with me. They were excited about it.
Yes.
I'd be super excited to be like, guess what? We're getting a new piece of equipment. And they're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, were you doing like what were like the Miss America fitness competitions? What were they actually called?
They were called fitness. Yeah, they're literally called Miss Fitness America.
Okay.
Yeah, FAP, Fitness America pageants.
And were you doing those while you were running the gym as well?
Yeah, I was doing those. And that's a lot of what people were looking up to me for too.
Yeah.
Because again, bodybuilding wise, like I'm lean. Like
Yeah.
when I look back at some of my pictures, I'm like, I am so freaking lean.
Really?
And it's just because I'm like eating really clean, eating
Yeah.
healthy, I'm working out right. So a lot of people would look up to me for that. They would go and watch the broadcast of me competing, which got them really excited to show up for themselves, which was wild. I'm like, these people are so excited that I'm doing this, and it's making them want to work out.
Yeah.
That's
Well, it's
awesome.
such a unique thing because you have to be so well-rounded.
Yeah,
Right?
especially having to like flip on a stage and then all of a sudden pop on heels. I mean, I've never really worn heels before.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is so interesting.
Do you remember the interview questions that they asked you?
Oh man, I think one of them was like, "What are you gonna eat after the show?" Because we are dieting the whole time,
Yeah.
and we are trained to answer it like really nicely and
Steak.
being like, "Oh well, I don't deprive myself, so
Yeah.
like it's fine." And in my head, I'm like, I really want like a big pizza.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's funny.
So when you're super lean like that, did you feel really good? Because I know some people with the bodybuilding stuff will be like, yeah, I was super lean. I looked great, but I like wasn't getting a lot of saturated fat in my diet. It was a lot of carbs. Like, how did you feel like a really low like body fat percentage like that?
I think I honestly felt really good at first because I was never eating clean like that. I'm
Yeah.
from New Jersey and I ate subs and pizza. And just basically
And
carbs all the time.
And bagels.
And bagels, everything. So I wasn't used to like not doing that. So my body like started to look really good and my energy levels actually went up at first when we started. But then definitely later on, as I started to do the last 2 weeks where you're cutting, I definitely had a hard time with that because
Yeah.
you're performing and you're cutting.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting a little lightheaded sometimes. I didn't know anything really about like electrolytes. So I'm like down in the big gallons of water and
Yeah.
I'm just peeing everything out. So I'm feeling a little bit lightheaded. So it definitely got to be a lot towards the end of the shows. And then at the end of that, when it's over, not only do you have something called post-show blues where you've now just competed and hit something, but now you're like, I don't know what to do with my food. Like, I guess I have to bring it back up slowly, but you're like, screw that. Like,
Yeah.
I want a pizza. Like, I want to just go all out for a
Yeah.
week. So I definitely had a hard time fluctuating from the end of it to shifting into maintenance mode then after that.
It's so interesting. Like Nick Bear, do you know Nick Bear?
Yeah.
So like watching his journey this year going into his show, it's like you look at his blood work and I'm like, this guy was like a shell of a human if you looked at his blood panel, but he looked great. It was like what Bro's saying. It's like crushing it. But it just goes to show that getting down to like that level of aesthetic and that low of body fat can really mess up your overall health.
Yeah, you can definitely, I think you can definitely do it right. There's
Yeah.
definitely ways to do it right. For bodybuilding, it's definitely a whole other world. Like,
Yeah.
if you see the way that they put together the meal plan, stuff like that, just way, way different of a world to be in.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just so robotic and just measuring all of your food and having every macro tracked to a T.
Yeah, definitely. Again, and it was super fun at first, though. Like I said,
Oh,
I
I'm
really
sure.
enjoyed it. I thought it was absolutely super fun,
Yeah.
but definitely trying. I wish I had more help like transitioning after that to like what it looks like to just maintain.
Yeah.
And then you also have some like body image issues after that, right? Because you actually might not be, fluffier, fatter, whatever you want to call it, but you look in the mirror and you saw yourself with a shredded six pack
Yeah.
for like weeks, and then you're like, oh, like
What happened? Yeah.
What happened? But you're
Yeah.
actually healthier.
You're
Like you're
way
actually
healthier, yeah.
way healthier like that. And I think that was like definitely interesting. I still have times too. Like I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, where's my six pack? But then I'm like, no, I'm healthier now.
You feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So so how long did you do those competitions for?
I did those for about 3.5 years.
Nice.
Yeah, straight through, like lots of competitions.
Dang.
I feel like
Lots
you were
of them.
probably really good too. Did you win any of them?
Well, yeah, I won Miss Fitness America in 2016, so that's like the biggest title,
So
and that was the pro division, so that was like
Dang.
literally the best people in the world. And I think the one thing I really loved about those competitions was the women I got to compete against. It was international, so I had women from Romania, people from Finland, literally the best of the best performing, and you got to know them really, really well. I wish it was like a TV show because I'm like,
Yeah.
they all had certain personalities, like stuff like that. We all were friends, but also we want to beat each other. So it was super interesting. And I definitely feel like it was such an amazing world to be a part of when I was a part of it.
Well,
I was just gonna say I'm envisioning like the Arnold Schwarzenegger videos because there's so many good videos of him like behind the scenes, like
Yeah.
like talking trash to the guys that he's training
yeah.
with, who he's also competing against. And it's like there's these layers of like the social dynamics of like when they're on stage, they hate each other, and like part of them when they're training, they're pushing each other and actually like very good friends. So
It's literally that. We're
I
like,
would tune into that.
we're like best friends, but then also like the girl kind of knows what's in my routine, so now she's trying to one up me. It's like so interesting. Like at the end of the day, but yeah, at the end of the day, we all are just really close friends, and we did want everyone to do really well and win, but it was definitely tough.
What was the mindset like before you'd go out on stage for like the biggest show?
Yeah, what's interesting is I'm the kind of person who like loves to perform.
Yeah.
Like I'm a performer. Like I feel great like before I go up. Like that's something that I really I don't know. There's just something I become a different person on that stage, which I think is really, really cool. So I was actually never nervous to go out and perform because I just felt like I belonged on that stage and I could be whoever I wanted to be. Like I would become characters. Like I had the one I won was Jungle Book. It was a Jungle Book theme, so it was like a little like jungle person. Like whole. If you watch the videos, you're like crazy. There was another one where I was Mad Max. So I had a zombie come on the stage, and I'm like fighting off a zombie and like flipping around her. Like you can become this whole other person when you're up there, and even walking in those heels. Like I never think I would have gotten the confidence in myself from. I think the most confidence I got was from those fitness competitions.
Yeah.
So even though it was tough, it's like you're out there on stage performing, walking in heels, showing people your butt on stage. Like if you can do that, like you can do anything. Yeah.
Have you carried any lessons with you from those competitions outside of just like probably the confidence and self-esteem, but any other lessons with you into the other things that you've ended up doing?
Yeah, I think definitely the confidence for sure. Being able to, really performance stuff for sure. I think that's really been helpful. I think one of the biggest things is that things are going to take time. I wanted to win that Miss Fitness America since the day one. And it took a lot of stuff going through that. Like I had a ton of stuff happen through my competitions. I broke my foot one of the years on the stage. I had to keep performing and I was super pissed because I was like, I was so good. I would have gotten a better score. What the heck? Why is this happening to me? I'm so mad. I had one where my Mad Max routine where I felt like I crushed it. And I'm like, this is going to be it. I'm going to win. My costume malfunctioned and my ass crack was out. So it slid down and I'm like performing and I can't get it back up. So I'm like still performing. So I got points taken off because my crack was out, which was hilarious, but also super annoying.
It's not even in your control. They're going to take points off for that?
Yeah. I should have had the costume should have stayed up.
Exactly.
I was working so much on my glutes. I just didn't say. So I think the lesson for that is when I finally did win, it was when I showed up there and it was so much more than winning. I knew it was my last routine because I knew I was going to like retire after I did the one routine. And I was like, you know what? It's okay. I feel good. And I'm like just really proud of myself for being here. And I get why I had to go through all those things. And then I won. So it took much longer than I thought it was going to be.
It's amazing how that works, isn't it? When you finally just have the right mindset, then you get rewarded with the victory.
Yeah, you're just like, you know what? It's okay. It doesn't. I'm like, it didn't matter what happened. I was like, I'm okay. Where the other ones where I was like, I want to win.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'd have to think too that it is such a superpower that you have now. Just like everything you went through, performing at that level too, because it's like if you can do that, you can public speak, you can coach in front of people. Like everything is just so easy at that point. And I think about like so many people have a fear of public speaking that's greater than dying. So if you can just be really good at that, it's a superpower. It really is.
For sure. If you can become that character, like you can literally become whoever you want when you're on the stage. Sometimes people, again, they're fearful of public speaking. I'm like, no, before you get up there, be like, you know what? I'm going to be, I call it like the alter ego now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to be my alter ego.
Yeah.
I'm going to be whatever I want to be when I'm up there.
It's a really powerful mindset shift of actually having that alter ego and embodying the fact that like I can choose to just be this confident version of myself that goes out there and crushes it. And so much of good public speaking is just having that like presence and charisma and really like owning the stage too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there something that is like in your nature that you feel like makes you uniquely able to tap into that? Because it is different. Like I've heard people talk about the alter ego, and I know people who have that when they go on stage, and it's incredible to see them like perform. But actually being able to tap into that is a totally different thing, and I think a lot of people just struggle to like think about themselves in that way.
Yeah, I don't really, it's like, maybe you guys feel the same, but I always felt like I was meant for more no matter what. There's just something that I feel like was like inside me always. I was like, I feel like I was always meant to be on stage. I always had like this, crazy imaginative mind and all these different things. I feel like it was just definitely ingrained in me that like, I'm like, this, I know I'm meant to do something like this. I know I'm meant to perform. Gymnastics probably helped because that was also like a huge performance aspect of it. And yeah, I just always felt like when I was younger, I was the girl in the room imagining these huge things and being being on stages in some other way. So I felt like it was always just kind of a part of, like, of what was in me.
That's amazing.
So you had that vision. The other thing that was really interesting is you said that you actually surprisingly wouldn't get nervous before you would go out. And I think that's interesting because I think some of the people that are really good from a mindset perspective, they're nervous or excited, but they reshape the nervousness as excitement. So they're like, I recognize that I have butterflies, or like my hands are a little bit sweaty, but it's actually a sign that my body is priming me to perform and I'm excited. I'm not nervous. So I'm curious, would you get like the butterflies? Were you rewiring from nervousness to excitement, or were you just like ice cold killer? Like, I just feel amazing.
No,
because some people are like that too.
Yeah, no,
so.
no, definitely the nervousness to like excitement and being able to
the
perform
mental
for sure.
alchemy.
I felt it definitely before I went up. I can't really, definitely if you hear like the tingling like kind of thing, but then you take a deep breath and you're like, no. I'm that alter ego right now. I could literally be whatever I want to be. I'm gonna literally crush the stage. I showed up. I did the work. I did the routine over and over and over again. Like, I can do it this one time.
Definitely. I liked what you said too about like having this deep seated feeling of just, even when you were a kid, just knowing that you were meant for something more. And those moments of performing or public speaking, that nervousness is actually a sign that you're living life in accordance to who you want to be. I used to think about that when I was younger because I used to get nervous for public speaking. Now I love it. And I would actually just say to myself, I'm like, if you don't have this feeling, that's actually a sign that you're not living your life the right way.
That's like
that.
chills.
Yeah.
Like
Seriously.
chills from that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, how many people like live their life escaping that feeling? And it's like, well, it's because you're avoiding that feeling. It's why you're not doing anything remarkable. Like, you have to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, having something get stirred up inside of you, like if you've ever worked a job where you feel like you're being like tamed, you don't encounter that those moments like for months where you feel like something is being stirred up inside of you where you're being pushed. And I think that, like, I think all three of us can probably attest to this. As you go and take steps into the entrepreneurial world, you're feeling that on like a regular basis where it's like, oh, I actually literally need to level up, or like this shit's not going to work.
Absolutely. We can definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
So what was the transition like from the pageants to American Ninja Warrior competitions? I imagine it's obviously very different, but some similarities.
Definitely different. What was so interesting about it is that I didn't even know what American Ninja Warrior was. I had one of the women who was mentoring me. She was going to try out for the show. And then my friend was like, you should try out for this. Like, you were a college gymnast. You were literally, I was really good at bars, like swinging on the bars and stuff like that. But I didn't want to like get in her way, which is interesting. So I didn't want to try out because I was like, I don't want to get in my mentor's way. If this is something she wants to do, I don't want to like overtake that. And this guy who was actually, his name is Ann Barnard, my friend from Rhode Island. He actually was the first person to take any pictures of me for like modeling, which is really great. He was like, no, you should do this. And I'm like, I don't know if I should. And it was that faith and that belief from him that was like, you need to try out for this show and forget that your friend is doing it. You guys can do it together. Like, it's not that like she can only win, right? Like, you can both win together, which I thought was something interesting. Cause I always kind of, you think that way with a lot of different things. Sometimes you think, well, if they have it, I can't have it too. But it's like, actually you can both have it and you can both like cheer each other on along the way. So he helped me make a video, because he's making an audition video to try out for this last minute, because he was just begging me to do it. And I like accidentally got on. I got the call while I was at another fitness competition, and it was like an 818 number, and I like put it to like let it go to, to the inbox. I was like, I don't know who this is. And it's like, you've made it to American Ninja Warrior. I was like, what? I'm like, oh man. And I'm like, well, when is it? And they're like, in 2 weeks, and it's in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't know how to ninja. I don't even know what ninja is. I don't know what's happening. So now I'm like on Facebook at the time, like just commenting, does anyone know how to ninja? I'm like in Rhode Island. And this guy reached out to me and was actually like, we created an entire course in our backyard. If you want to come, we'll teach you. And it was so nice. Like, from that moment, these people, these strangers I didn't even know, they're like, you're strong. We'll help you. And I thought it was so cool to like learn the salmon ladder, learn all these like monkey bar drills and things along those lines, and having the support of these people I had never met before actually helping me, because they were like, we just want somebody to get through the course. We don't care who it is. We just want you to be able to get through it. So what I loved, and what the big transition for me for that was, I now didn't have to care about what I looked like anymore because it wasn't about what you looked like in American Ninja Warrior. It was, can you get through the obstacles? Are you strong enough to do that? And that's where I really shifted my mindset from, I don't need to get smaller anymore. I just need to get stronger. And that's when I actually started feeling really good. The energy levels were higher. Now I'm eating for performance and like not the looks at all. And what's wild is I look just as good. Look just as good, eating more, training more for strength and forgetting about all that stuff, forgetting about my weight, forgetting about anything. And I thought that was like the biggest piece of Ninja, why I loved it so much and why I decided to retire from doing the Fitness America competitions. I was like, I want to focus on getting strong. I think this is really, really cool, a cool next step for me.
Was there any overlap for you between the two?
Yeah, they definitely were happening at the same time for a little while, for sure. So I'm like doing that and Ninja Warrior.
But you could feel yourself getting pulled towards the Ninja Warrior stuff just because like maybe your mentality around it was just much more healthy. Like balanced.
For sure. And I was just getting super tired from the competitions. I mean, I had done, so many. Like I just kept doing, I was addicted. I was just doing like as many shows as I can find. I'm like, I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna do another one. I'm gonna do another one. So it was definitely was a great next step. But again, like I love those competitions so much. I think it really like changed everything for me. I also met my mentor through that. She's the one who literally had faith in me and right away was like you are meant to do something. And I was like, what? Me? And she pushed me to do Ninja and she kept pushing me to do these things that I didn't think was actually like that maybe I could do.
Yeah. So when you started training for Ninja, what like strengths did you have innately and what were the biggest things that you needed to work on to actually be able to compete?
Yeah, I honestly think I was just not strong with anything at first. It sounds wild to say that because I had upper body strength, but it's so different to like have upper body strength like doing a bicep curl and doing a flip than it is to hang on something and jump from bar to bar. So I really had to learn how to have that upper body endurance, how to get better grip strength. I thought I would have better grip strength than I did. I literally could barely hang on to the things they were putting me onto. Yeah. So I definitely had a lot of growing to do with the skills of actually being able to have grip strength and technique stuff. You can be as strong as you want, but if you don't have technique on those Ninja obstacles, like you're not going to do good.
Yeah.
How great of a feeling was it just getting into something and having that beginner's mind again, where you're like having to learn this whole new universe of like skills and like having to apply different like strength components and flexibility components. There's something magical about that like childlike beginner's mind.
It was fun, but it was also frustrating because you're like, I should be stronger than this.
Yeah.
But you get like addicted to it. It definitely happened to me in gymnastics too. Like if I couldn't get a skill, I just keep trying it over and over and over and over again. So I'd just be addicted to, my coach would be like, okay, cool, we're gonna do this little ledge thing. Your goal is just to get halfway, and I barely could get halfway. And then I come in the next week and I get a little further, and then I get a little bit further. And then he'd had this extra. These people had these extra belief in you that you can do it when you're frustrated. That just makes you want to like keep doing it. So definitely was super exciting because every time I'd show up and get a little bit stronger, I would get even more excited.
Yeah. What about you said you felt like your relationship with food and nutrition got way better, and you were in even better shape doing Ninja. What kind of dietary changes did you make? Was it like more saturated fat? Was it more calories? Was it just like intuitive eating? What did that kind of look like?
It definitely was a bit more intuitive eating, and then definitely eating more. I needed more carbs. When they were taking the carbs away from me, I know people react to carbs differently. For me, my body like really needed them. Yeah. So I was definitely eating more carbs, more protein, all those different things. And like I said, looking just as good. Yeah. I also allowed myself to cheat more. Like we call it a cheat day, but like I would be like, you know what? If I want that muffin from Dunkin' Donuts, I'm gonna have it.
I'm getting that muffin.
I'm getting that muffin.
Well, the crazy thing, did you know that the Dunkin' Donuts muffin has like 700 calories? And a donut has like 200 calories, like a glazed donut.
You can see it in the bag. Yeah. Like it's like the oil is like leaking all over the bag, but you're just like, it's so good.
But people think the muffin is healthier than the donut though, but they have no idea.
Yeah, I'm definitely sure that there's a lot of calories in that muffin for sure.
But there was no like emotional weirdness around food. You were just like, look, I'm training hard. If I want to have a muffin, I'm going to have a muffin. I'm not going to like deprive myself of these things that I want. I'm still going to be in great shape too.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like wouldn't probably show people as much. You know what I mean? Like there would be times where I'd come back. I would do some of these Ninja workouts. I, was working at my gym to like 8 o'clock at night, and I would go literally drive an hour to a gym to work out at 9 p.m. like with the people. And then on my way back, like the only thing open was like Sonic. So I'd be like, I'm gonna have Sonic.
Yeah.
But it honestly, like I felt good doing that because I was eating really well the majority of the time. And then I don't know, it felt good to just be able to go have a Sonic thing once in a while. I think
not
it's
deprive
important.
yourself.
Not deprive yourself. I think eat really clean, you know, give your body all the fuel that it needs. And then sometimes like doing that once a week feels really good.
Totally. And Harry and I have said this too. It's like the average person is eating like 14 to 21 meals a week, right? So if 1 or 2 of those meals is something like Sonic and the rest of your meals are really good home cooked meals that are animal protein dominant, like you're going to be okay. There's just so much weird like morality and just emotional behavior around eating that I think makes people, I don't know if they like second guess themselves when they're going to do it, but it's okay if it's like 1 or 2 meals out of the week.
Yeah, I think that's where it gets a little tough sometimes, even like in Austin, right? Because they've got like all the stuff, and even like with your podcast, like it's so great, but then people I think get like worried, like I can't ever have processed food sometimes, and it's like I love that you just said that because I feel like food is like there's so much more that comes with food, and I feel like if you just allow yourself to do that, like you said, as long as you're doing like really well the majority of the time and just really making sure you're fueling your body properly, having whatever that is processed thing once in a while, honestly, my body feels better.
Little
like,
P. Terry's every once in a while.
Little P. I don't know. I still did not love P. Terry's.
You didn't love P. Terry's?
I came to P. Terry's. Yeah, I went to P. Terry's super excited, and I'm like, I don't really love this burger.
What didn't you love about it? You just thought it was overhyped?
I thought it was I felt like the burger was like peppery. No, I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head.
It's pretty crispy.
What
burger.
All right, what's your favorite fast food burger or just fast food?
Okay, my favorite one for sure is the Junior Bacon Cheeseburger from Wendy's.
That's a good choice.
I've never had it.
You've never had Wendy's before?
I've had Wendy's, but I've never had. I mean, it's been
that was
while.
a college thing.
It's been a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had one in a long time from there. Because you can just get, I can just make better burgers.
Their Frosties are epic though.
Oh, they are epic. It's funny how you said it was a college thing too. Harry and I talk about this a lot. Like being a collegiate athlete, none of us had any idea how to eat.
No.
We were eating like absolute garbage.
Crazy.
But they don't even teach you. Like even, I'm like, how do they not have a nutritionist come in and talk to your sports teams and teach you how to eat? Like sometimes I wonder how much better would my career have been if I knew how to eat the right things.
I wish they taught me how to eat. I was just definitely eating pizza, like 3, like
100%.
like every like pizza, sandwich, like, and I'm wondering why I'm feeling dehydrated sometimes. Like I needed electrolytes.
Yeah.
Or I was definitely lacking magnesium. I mean, literally nobody came in to tell me anything.
No.
At that age, you can get away with so much, and I feel like the coaches are like, we just need them eating like enough. So like, like it. I don't know. At that age, it definitely does affect performance, but like at the same time, you're so young, you're so active. Like it really probably makes like a more of a minuscule difference than like your average person who's just sitting at a desk.
Yeah, I really wish that they would have taught us how to eat then. That would have been,
Yeah.
I think, 100% a game changer for like so many different things.
Yeah.
And then you're just binge drinking like every Friday and Saturday.
Oh yeah, I mean, the gymnasts and the wrestlers were like best friends in college, and it was just like, you're just out drinking all the time.
Yeah, and you imagine what that does to apparently an ounce of alcohol sets your recovery back by like 4 hours. So I think about gymnasts, like all the pressure on your joints and the inflammation that's built up, like drinking probably is the worst thing you could possibly do.
They actually had a speaker come in and talk about drinking, but we're all like, yeah.
Okay.
Like we just kind of like, but I remember him saying like, if you literally drink tonight, you're going to lose 2 days of practice. Like technically. Crazy. And you're like, yeah, whatever.
But they're actually right. But they're right though.
But they're literally 100% right, which is wild.
The compounding effect of like taking that out of a collegiate athlete's like system, week to week routine would be like massively helpful for their performance overall.
Oh, for sure. I definitely feel like luckily for me, I wasn't a huge drinker. I definitely did like go out and drink sometimes, but it never was something that like I cared about.
Yeah.
Like I still don't really care about it now, like at all. I didn't care about it when I was away. Like just never really was something I really wanted to do. So I did it like once in a while. I would always get mad at the people who like did, ton of drugs and were drinking a ton and they were crushing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I was like, but I'm trying so much harder.
That's what's hard about sports, though, is like you could do everything perfect. Like baseball is a perfect example. You could do everything perfect. And then as a pitcher, there could be like some fat Dominican kid that just throws 95 miles an hour. He's just got like a God-given arm and you can't do anything about it.
You're just like, this is not fair at all.
Yes.
But yeah.
You're putting in all the reps like after practice, trying to like work on it every single day. Still can't hit 95.
No, but I think that's why health and wellness and fitness is amazing. Because like it's just a very fair pursuit where if someone does your pull-up program and they stick to it, anyone can go from doing like 0 pull-ups to being able to do a great number of pull-ups, right? Because you just put the work in and the body responds to it.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah. So Ninja Warrior, what were you like competition number 1 versus competition number 6? Was it like 2 different people?
Yeah. I feel like it was like a this
Yeah.
on my competitions. The first one just like had no idea what I was doing. I just had a great time. I competed at like 2 a.m. And yeah, just really didn't know any idea what any of this stuff was. Then I got more strategic. I'm like, oh, these obstacles are always an agility. They're always there's always some kind of lache. So you get like a little bit more smart on like exactly what you need to be training, because you don't know what the obstacles are until you get there.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of like the same kind of things. So as long as you can train specific things, you should be fine.
Yep.
So then I got a lot smarter with training. And like I said, started training the agility. People were setting up obstacles similar to stuff that they saw. Got really good at like lacheing, better grip strength, all those different things. And then I definitely started getting better and better and better, and definitely wound up hitting my peak.
Yeah.
But then like the last couple seasons, it's like definitely wasn't doing as well. But I also wasn't training as much as I used to. Like I wasn't going into those ninja gyms as much as I just didn't have as much time.
Yeah. Didn't you tear your ACL too?
I did.
Yeah.
So I actually on season 7, so I got on the show 1 year, and then I got rejected for 2 years, which was super hard to bear with, because you're like, why am I getting rejected? Like, you wanted me one time, but like you don't want me now. And then I got back on the show and crushed the course. Like, was gonna be a top female, super wild. Like,
Yeah.
I was blown away. I put all the training in, I put all the work. I'm looking at my coach. I'm like, I got this. I have to complete one more obstacle to be a top female. So I complete the obstacle, and I'm like, but when I landed, it blew my ACL out.
So you had just become the top female.
Top female, and then blew my ACL out like on the course, so I couldn't finish the rest of it. So they had to carry me off.
Dang.
Which is awful. So that was a point in my life where everything was going super well for me too. The gym was running pretty smoothly. I got on a cover of Women's Health magazine randomly, which was super cool.
Wow.
And then back on Ninja, and then I tear my ACL, and I'm like, wait a second. Like, so that's when a lot of stuff started going not downhill, but I was just so upset because I felt like my identity was placed on all these things that I had. And then all of a sudden in 1 second, like it was all gone. So it was like, all of a sudden I can't walk anymore. I can't do those modeling things anymore. Like, who am I if I can't ninja?
Yeah.
Like it just felt like it was a growth opportunity, but it was definitely a really down moment in my life for sure.
How did you find those growth opportunities in the face of that injury?
I think you don't really know it's a growth opportunity till after, because like during it sucks. Like during it, it's definitely like it was a whole like why me phase. I never thought that I was gonna be able to get back to it. At one point, I'd say this in a lot of my talks, but like I didn't want to live anymore because I just didn't feel like I would show up to the gym to help my clients still and like have my whole brace on and stuff like that, and then when I'd go home, I'd be a mess. Like I would just be hiding it because I didn't want them to see that I was struggling. And I think there's just so much I learned from those opportunities. Like the people who are like really close to you, they're going to know something's wrong. So they've like came and they're like, hey, I see that you've been stuck here for like a while now. Like what's happening? And they're like, it's okay. Like you can feel all this stuff, feel the suck. You need to feel it. You can't just be like, I'm strong and I can't feel, like feel it.
Yes.
Feel everything you need to feel, but then don't get stuck is what she had told me, which was a game changer, like mindset switch. And she was like, what can you focus on that you can do right now versus what you can't do? And that was a huge piece. Is my identity was tied so much to athletics and sports and all these big achievements I was doing, right? Ninja, opening the gym, but like, what was I without all those things?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was much. So it was a great opportunity for me to dive deeper into what was I without all those things.
Yes.
So how did you actually go about kind of reestablishing your identity after that injury?
Yeah, so I had to do a lot of like that mental work, a lot of the stuff that I was like, this is so dumb, like started meditating, right? Sitting with myself a little bit more, writing out my gratitude, writing out on a piece of paper how I was actually feeling without being scared. Like when I was writing, like, I don't think I want to live anymore. Like it actually felt better for me to put it on the piece of paper and then be like, wait, is that true? Like, do I actually not want it? No, that can't be true. Like there's so many other things that I'm good at. So sitting down and actually sitting with myself, meditating, journaling, taking the opportunity when I couldn't actually use my leg to work on my mindset, which is something I clearly was just avoiding. I was just avoiding working on any kind of mindset type things.
Yeah, it's hard to confront that stuff, and then the injury forces you to confront it. And I appreciate you sharing, being vulnerable and being willing to share how, like, at that period of time, you didn't have like this desire or this will to live. And I think a person that doesn't understand you might be like, "Come on, that's like seems a little bit extreme." But when your identity is so tied to these things that you had been doing for a while, and then that's ripped out from under your feet, you don't really know what to do with yourself.
You don't know who you are. Like what
Yeah.
what am I, since it was so tied to only that, will people only love me if I have that? I know that sounds so wild, but you need to learn to love yourself without all those different things. And I
Yeah.
think that was definitely the growth opportunity that I had to learn through that. And I was able to turn it around. I started focusing on things that I could control, which is, hey, you know what? Maybe I didn't, like, I tore my ACL because I didn't have a strong core. I was focusing on super explosive ninja-y things, but I wasn't going to the foundational pieces, right? I was forgetting about, simple movements like a dead bug or like stuff like
Yeah.
that. I didn't have a strong foundation. I was just only doing the big things. So it allowed me the opportunity to go back and focus on that. And then I started filming that journey. So I had like my brace on. I'd go up and I'd show people, I'm just going to work on what I can work on right now. And I was honestly just posting it for myself. This is before Instagram was like super crazy big. I didn't really know what Instagram was going to turn into. So I just started posting those things, and it's just, they started going viral. It was just people being like, thank you so much for sharing this.
Wow.
Because you got up with your leg and you're doing stuff that, working what you can work on, it got me up. And that's when I started to click right there. Once I posted those things, again, I was just posting it for myself to keep myself going. I was like, this is a bigger opportunity here.
Yes.
Like, if I can get through this, now these people are messaging me, maybe they can get through what they need. So I realized that I had a way bigger purpose that was more than just me winning a competition and all those flashy names that I had. It was so much bigger than I had ever thought.
It's really an interesting insight into coaching and being able to relate to the people that you ultimately want to help build. Where, like, I remember my high school football coach was the type of guy who would actually run the sprints with you. And there's this almost like power dynamic where a lot of coaches hold themselves above the people that they're teaching. But you, as someone who's just being vulnerable and sharing, hey, I'm like on my ass right now trying to just like get healthy again, probably drew so many people into your world where it's like, wow, this person's actually relatable. Like, I can actually learn a lot from her, but also like, be kind of like a peer in some ways. Like, this is actually helping me get better, or take the first step, which for a lot of people is the hardest step to take.
The first step is 100% the hardest step to take. And yeah, I definitely feel like that really helps me to relate to my clients right now. Because I always tell them at the beginning of any workshop I do, I'm like, let me just tell you a little bit about me right now. Because you're going to look at all those big things that I did, and you're going to think that like, she just has it all. And like, she just got it right away. And I'm like, that is not the case. Like, that is not what happened. I had to go through a ton through these things and learn a lot as I was doing them.
And that's why you saying that is so important. Because I could imagine if I was a woman that couldn't do one pull-up, look at your Instagram at first glance, I would be like, it's hard to relate to her. But that's why your story is so important, because you're like, I know what it feels like to like, blow up my ACL, not really have this will to live, be like the lowest of the low. And here are the things that I did to kind of pull myself out of that. And also with social media content creation, it feels so good to just create something, not to just like selfishly push a goal forward, but actually to help people too. I forget who we were talking to. We were just talking about this the other day. We were talking to someone who is prone to getting depressed. And he said that whenever he feels that feeling of anxiety or depression, he just goes out and just does something nice for someone. And I feel like that's kind of what you're reminding me of right now, of like when you're just creating to try and help other people, it feels amazing.
Yeah, once it starts to click like that, like if I keep going and help somebody else keep going, everything is completely different.
Yeah.
It goes from like feeling like selfish, I guess, in a way, to like it's like to that's not like that anymore. And yeah, I have a bigger purpose and a bigger why. And it really comes down to your why, right? Because a lot of times when you're younger, we don't really have a why yet. We don't really know what that is. When you have a really deep why and a deep purpose, it doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah. Did you have any reservations about posting content when you first started posting stuff?
Oh my God, yeah. I definitely did. I had no idea. Again, Instagram wasn't like that yet. I didn't really understand like what Instagram was. And I didn't really know if people wanted to see, I don't know, me going through this hard ass time. You know what I mean? Me sitting there. I have videos, if you go on my highlights, you see me like crying during my thing. But I just took them through the journey with me. I was like, I'm going to be honest, like this freaking sucks. I woke up in the worst pain. I literally could not walk to the bathroom. Yeah. Like I couldn't get to the bathroom and had to crawl on the floor. Like it's like those things that, I was a little nervous because like what's oversharing, and want to like overshare, do too much. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to share just my journey, because I feel like that's the one thing that I feel like I can, bring to the world right now.
Yeah, I think if you like meditate on it or like use your gut instinct, you typically know what's oversharing versus what's not oversharing, and you just lead with that instinct too.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess in some ways the ACL led to you like building this whole platform and this pull-up offering and everything, right?
It was so funny because my coach one time had told me it's a blessing in disguise, and at that moment I was like, shut up. I'm like, this is not a blessing in disguise.
Not what I want to
you
hear.
see this? Like, oh my God. 100% a blessing in disguise, because it definitely led me to these next things. When I tore my ACL, a lot of things, and when I started doing my meditation and journaling more and all those different things, I started realizing that like I didn't want to own a gym. Like I'd open the gym because I thought that what I was supposed to do, but that's not what I wanted. I felt like the same way I felt when I was doing the pharmaceutical stuff. I'm like right back to square one. So that gave me the courage to then say, I'm shutting down the gym.
Wow.
Which is wild. So during that time, shut down the gym. I thought I was going to disappoint so many people, but if anything, those people at my gym were so great. They were like, no, we support you in whatever it is that you want to do. And I was like, oh my God, thank you.
What year was this, by the way, that you shut it down?
I shut down my gym. I'm so bad with years. I need to like go back and do like a timeline and just like have it on my phone.
Was it pre-COVID?
It was pre-COVID. Yeah, pre-COVID. Okay. So I shut it down and I had nothing. I had no money, $0. I mean, I made no money off the gym. And I moved into my dad's basement in New Jersey.
Wow.
Dang.
And we're back at square one. But now I was on a mission. I was like, I'm going to get my leg really better. I'm going to come back for my next season. I'm going to crush it. I just was like, I'm going to do this. And I was commuting into New York City to train with the best people. I wanted to learn from the best. I knew that I was meant for more, like we had talked about. And I'm like, you know where the more is, and the people who are really, learning from each other and doing the next big thing, New York City. So I went to New York City. I had $0 and I was just going to classes and meeting people. That's all I was doing. I was like working on my leg. I had a physical therapist who became like my best friend in the city. And that's literally all I did for like an entire year.
Wow. It seems like that whole, like the whole arc of your story was just you laying these like foundational bricks to then have this reset that gave you the focus to go all in and like see what you could really make of the whole Ninja Warrior experience, which I think is rare. Like for a lot of people, they kind of like can get like half in, half out on certain things. And for you to like actually sell the gym and be like, I'm going all in on this is unique. And like being able to actually spend that time to like develop a certain level of mastery around it was probably pretty refreshing, I would imagine.
Yeah, it honestly felt so good, like not have the gym or anything and just be like, I'm gonna just focus on this. And at the time too, in between, I bought the last dollars I had, I bought a course on how to be an online coach. Because I just wanted to learn about it. So it's like I have the extra time now, clearly, because I have no money, no job, nothing. I'm like, I'm just gonna just learn from the best while I can. I had this extra opportunity to like live somewhere for free in my dad's basement. I was like, all right, let's do it.
Is there a better feeling than fully being able to feel like you're just like fully committing to that one thing?
It felt really good to just be doing what I knew that I want. Like when I was sitting in the gym, just always dreaming of doing, it just felt really good to actually like take the leap and actually go in there.
Yeah. I bet you look back on that year in Dad's basement really fondly too.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, it was definitely a wild, wild time. There was definitely some personal stuff happening along there, but I won't share that at the same exact time with my dad. But yeah, I mean, definitely learned a lot. And yeah, I really did enjoy that time,
Yeah.
I had no schedule. I was just going to classes and just meeting as many people as I can meet.
Yeah.
That's all I was doing.
I don't know if you know Steven Pressfield. He wrote this book called Turning Pro. And he talks about this concept of like having a turning pro year where you go from amateur to professional. And that sounds like that was kind of your turning pro year in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I was like, if I want to be like these people, I need to be in their room.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get in their room.
Yes.
Like I wasn't doing it to get in the room to like get anything from them. I was like, I'm just going to be in the room with them. That's all I wanted to do.
Yes.
Were there any coaches or people that you were training with that had a particular impact on you during that year?
Oh, wow. I mean, I met so many people while I was there, and so many great people that I know now that were at Gabrielle Lyon's event, right?
Really?
That were at different pieces. So yeah, I met a ton of different coaches. I'm trying to think if there's like one main one. I feel like there wasn't. There's just so many. There's just so many people that I met. One of the biggest relationships I met though is with Liz Plosser, she's the editor-in-chief of Women's Health magazine. And I met her because I was working at a really high-end gym for free, so that I could just, be around these amazing people. And they asked me to, teach a women's health event. And I met Liz there, and she was actually the reason why I started my pull-up program.
Wow.
Because she came to me with same thing. Like so many people had come to me before. Angela, I just want to get my pull-up. Can I get it in like 14 days? I have a shoot for it. And I was like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And just, I loved her dedication, everything. And she gave me like extra faith in myself for my expertise. She really fully trusted me, and to have somebody like her who's so incredible, like trust me, I feel like she gave me this like extra confidence.
That's amazing. So how did pull-ups become your niche and your thing?
So it literally came from, again, women just kept saying when they'd see me, oh man, I just want to be able to do one pull-up. Like, you're a ninja warrior. Like, it's so cool. I just want to be able to do one pull-up. And then what I realized was when I was teaching them is that they had all these like limiting beliefs and things ingrained from them from when they were younger. Like, I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm not strong enough. I'm too heavy. All these different things. But they were like, this is a goal that I've had for a long time. It's like, it was always in the back of their mind. Like, if you ask anybody, and even people like listening to this podcast right now, you're probably like, shit, that's me. Like, I've always wanted, like, women are like, I want to pull up. Like, that's what they want, but they don't feel like it's actually possible for them.
Yeah.
So as I was teaching them, not only was I seeing this like extra confidence start to come out from them, like they'd get a little bit stronger each week, and they'd start to see that it was possible. And then when they finally got it, it just opened up so much for them. It was like a gateway. So I saw that emotion and I felt that emotion, and I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. I feel like there was nobody else out there doing it. There still isn't. There's a lot of male figures trying to teach you it, but they don't teach it the way a woman needs to hear it. So I felt like I was like, there's something about this, especially even after Liz. I was like, this feels like this is what I need to do, because it's more than the pull-up.
Yes.
And that's why I wanted to do it. And I wanted them to get through a lot of the humps that I got through with my ACL, right? It's the same thing. If they can get through that, they can get through anything.
Yeah, there's something around like just a single pull-up and a single mile that once you break through some of those thresholds, your whole mind is like now expansive.
You're like, what else can I do?
I can do so much more.
Yeah, like maybe I can go swing a kettlebell now. Maybe I can go try. So it's great. I'm like, I feel like I am the gateway for them to get started on whatever it is they want to get started with next.
Yeah, there's all these different gateways too, and like a single catalyst. Like for some people, like I think for me, it was getting my nutrition under control and just eating carnivore for 2 weeks. That changed everything, and you become a different person a couple years later. For some people, it's the first pull-up. For other people, it's something else. And like, there's all these different niches that you can lean into. And for you, it's like you're teaching women how to do pull-ups, but they transform as women and people by the end of that process, which is so cool.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why I stuck to it. It really is that piece.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool that I can get your pull-up, but that's not the whole point.
It's so much more than that.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
Well, even it being very focused around women too, like I don't see a whole lot of women just like going up to the pull-up bar and like doing pull-ups. And it is probably because it's like kind of like men are physiologically very different, more like upper body focused, like more upper body strength. Like more of our weight is above the belt. And it's like interesting to actually even see, like, or rare to see a woman like going up to a pull-up bar and doing pull-ups.
It's intimidating. They like go to the gym and they're like, I don't want them to like look at me and think that I can't do this, or they're shaking you can see them shake their head before they do it. Like, I see it all the time. But yeah, 100%. I feel like for men, it's obviously a lot easier because you definitely are you have a lot of upper body strength. It's so funny because I always think like guys skip leg day and they always do upper body, and then women skip upper body day. And they only do lower body.
It's almost like there's guy workouts and girl workouts, which makes some sense. But at the same time, like there should be some crossover, especially with some of these like calisthenics movements. Like doing a pull-up is great. Yeah,
and that's the thing. What happens is women are like more strong, like they're stronger in their legs typically, because obviously birth and like all the like kind of life. You gotta get birth and all that stuff. The legs are a lot. People put a lot of focus on their legs for that reason. So upper body definitely can be a bit tougher for them to achieve. So there's a different approach that they needed to it. And I think that sometimes, again, guys will just be like, just hop on the bar and try it. Like, that is not what's gonna work. We break down in my pull-up program, we break down it into an easier, more manageable way. And we're gonna really teach you how to get those muscles to be working because you're not really using them in your everyday life.
Yeah. And we do not do assisted pull-up bands, right? That's a cardinal sin.
Yeah, so it's so wild. I always say this on my thing, but I feel like people, they always see like the most extreme piece of it. But like they're a good tool. Like they are a tool that you can utilize. But what you see all the time is they get very reliant on the band, right? You'll be able to do a ton on the assisted band, you get rid of it, you still can't do it. And you're like, what the hell? Like, I don't understand like why I still can't do it. And that's because the band helps you with the hardest part, which is the bottom, right? It's like flinging you up. Like if you take my hair tie and I literally just like go like this, it's flinging you up at the bottom. That's where you're stuck. So you hop off and it makes sense that you can't do the last bottom piece. So why my program works is because we focus on the bottom. So let's focus on the bottom piece. You probably already have the rest of it, like honestly. And then we also focus obviously on your mindset, because I've had women who are 100% strong enough. They have all the drills, but they do not think they can do it. So you're not going to do it.
Wow.
So we have to really focus on shifting those mindsets, all the beliefs that you might have around this skill that it's not possible for you. How can we get you to show up as your alter ego at the bar and say, I can do this?
Do we like the assisted pull-up machine, or is that as bad as the bar?
It's the same. I feel like it can definitely, again, I think it's a great tool, and we do utilize them still in the program, but we show them how to really use them properly. But if you're only doing that, like, it's going to be very hard for you to get it.
Got it.
Some people will, right? Some guys are like, I just did a couple and I took the band out. Okay, good for you. Like, great. That doesn't really happen with most people.
Yeah.
What about negative pull-ups? Are you pro negative pull-ups?
Yeah, I mean, I love, so the other issue online right now is I love those other drills, but they're super intimidating. Like, put a beginner on a bar and tell them to go do a negative pull-up. They're gonna drop. They drop to the floor.
Yeah.
Like, you go up there, like, just hold yourself up there. They don't know how to hold tension on the bar yet, right?
Yeah.
So they jump up and they just fall down, and they're like, oh, well, screw this. I don't want to do it. So I really make sure we teach it in a more approachable way. Like, here, we're gonna break down how you can do that negative pull up, but we're gonna do it with a little bit of assistance first. We're gonna like build you up to it so that you are more confident. So again, great drills, but I just feel like it's just definitely super intimidating when a beginner hops up and tries that.
Yeah.
Is phase one just working on like hanging and grip strength before you do anything?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people, like, you can get started on your pull-up if you don't have any upper body strength.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep waiting for you to be lighter, too. People are like, I'm going to wait until I'm lighter. It's going to be easier. That's not true, like, at all. And you don't need to wait till you have upper body strength or the perfect body. You can literally start working on it, like, right now. Like, you can start working on it right now. And for sure, starting with like different hangs, there's mobility drills you can do, stability drills, a ton of stuff off the bar that you can do in order to start and lead towards that goal of getting your pull-up.
There's something about body weight movements that I feel like it has some level of like rewiring your brain and your nervous system.
Yeah.
Like, I recently really got into just trying to do like a handstand, which for me is like a massive deal. Like a lot of weight moving around to do a handstand. So like when I started getting comfortable with it, I noticed that like my brain was firing at a different level. So to see people make that switch of like being able to actually move their body weight, you know, the 24 inches up to the top of the bar, is probably like a huge unlock.
Oh, for sure, especially for your brain. So it's another thing we talk about in my program is the central nervous system, right? So I don't know if you talk about this ever in your show, but the central nervous system is basically your brain connecting to whatever it is that you're doing right now. So I always joke around because I'm Italian. I'm like, my brain is going to my hands. And it's like, you know, like it knows how to do this because I do this all the time. But we don't pull a lot in our everyday life. Like, are we pulling anything? Not really.
No.
We're typically every day we're pushing things. We're like carrying things, whatever, but we're not pulling anything down. So that connection in our brain is not there, right? Our brain, like, you're looking at your lat and they're like, what? Like, your brain's like, excuse me, can you pull me? And it's like, what are you? What do you want me to do? I don't get it. So it needs to like create that pathway, just like your stuff with your handstand, right? You're not just like upside down every day, right? So creating that pathway is another thing that we really make sure we focus on with a bunch of drills, because you just don't do it in your everyday life. So how can we actually use science to get it to fire up and work? Because have you seen like really strong people and not be able to do pull up? Like I have.
All the time, especially guys too.
Yeah, all the time. You're like, why can't they do it? They're strong. It's because they don't have the connection yet.
Interesting.
What's also interesting too is I've noticed that like I worked up to do like an L sit to a handstand, and I would take like a months off from training it, and then once I had developed it once, that pathway was open and I could like pretty easily just get right back into it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Shows that it's not necessarily a strength issue. It's just that pathway being open to begin with.
As soon as you open up the pathway, it's once you get one pull up too, I'm like, you're gonna get like 3.
Yeah.
Like they come in, like they come into my program wanting one pull up, they leave it like 3. They're like, wow, like, this is wild. I'm like, I told you.
Yeah. There's definitely that pathway too of like, a true like strict pull up where you're not cheating at all, like the actual motion of being fully at the ground and then pulling yourself all the way up. I feel like for a lot of people, they don't know. I don't know. It's like, yeah, you have to, I guess, get that pathway and that feeling. And then once you do it once, you can do it multiple times.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, but like, just like you said before, you got to start, right? You got to start somewhere. You got to stop making the excuses of again, I'm too heavy, I'm too old, like I'm not enough, like whatever. Like you just got to start. You got to do something.
What sort of breakthroughs have you seen people make after the pull-up outside of kind of like gym stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I was telling you guys before we did this show, there's just some amazing things happening in the community right now that it just blows my mind. I had this one woman who's 61 or 63 years old in the program. I mean, the oldest was 79, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I literally love them. Like, I like want to hang out with them all the time, like literally. But she had written, I just want to let you know my goal in December was to be able to sit, like if I'm sitting on the floor, be able to get up and stand up, because for most women or a lot of people, when you get older, you can't do that. And that's like longevity stuff. That's like, I need to be able to get up off the floor if I fall or something happens. Right. And she was like, I just want to let you know, she started in December. It's February right now. We're doing this podcast. She's like, I'm able to get up off the floor now. Dang. This has nothing to do with the pull up. Like zero to do with the pull up, but she can now get up off the floor, which is now going to help her have a way higher quality life. This is a woman who had a hip replacement. And if you know the studies on like hip replacements and stuff like that, when you get older, if you have a fatal fall, if you have a hip replacement, a lot of people, I think it's like, what is it? 70%. There's a 70% chance that you're like literally not going to live for the next year,
insane.
Which is absolutely absurd and wild. Right. Because you would never think that would be something. But now that she's moving now, she's working on her pull-up, she's working on those things, she's able to get up off the floor. That means we probably extended her life by a couple years or more than that, which is mind-blowing to me. So that for me lately has been like, I mean, I was literally crying when I read that. It was like a massive breakthrough.
Because again, it's so much more than pull-ups. This is legitimately like life-changing practices.
Yes.
What percentage of your clients would you say are older versus younger? Is it primarily older?
Yeah, I'd say 40 plus, most of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I try. That's literally who I cater to when I'm speaking online. I'm speaking to those women. Like I want those women to come in. We definitely have younger women who come through and they crush it. Yeah. But I really like to speak to those older women because I know they're at a place in their journey where they're over weight loss. They're over all this stuff. People want to. Everyone's talking about living longer, doing these things now, and the pull up is a great first step in that. Right? We're gonna increase your grip strength. We're going to help you get more confident. There's a lot of things that's going to come hand in hand with them getting their pull up. So I really focus on those women.
I love goals that have very unintended consequences. Like, and I feel like doing one pull up for a lady who's like maybe in her 40s can have so many downstream effects, whether it's just like confidence, reframe, like a fresh start, wants to change the job and now is able to like feel like they can do that. Like there's so many things that one single pull-up can like fuel you to do. And so I feel like that coaching is just so valuable.
It also helps your kids.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So I have these videos because they're filming their pull-ups for me because we actually coach them in the program. We don't just like leave them. We're going to coach you. And there's these videos of the little children cheering them on behind them. And there was this other one that came in today and it said, written out, this has made me be a role model to my child, because my child came up to me and said, I notice what you're doing and I see you showing up every single day. And kids, they don't do what they hear, they do what they see.
Yes.
So they're seeing you show up every single day to get this impossible goal. And now they're going to start doing these things and being healthier and all those different things. So another huge connection of what they're doing. It's literally, you're going to be a role model for your kids.
There's legitimately nothing more important than that as a parent.
Yeah.
And your hard work will imprint in their brain. And I guarantee you that your clients, their children will remember that like 20 years down the road of like mom or dad showing up to kick ass.
Oh, exactly. You don't think they're watching sometimes, but they're watching.
Yeah.
They're watching.
Totally.
Do you have any fitness goals for yourself now, or are you just so focused on like, I just want to help as many clients as possible, and I've competed a lot and I feel like I'm in great shape and I just want to help my clients now? Yeah,
I've been all in on helping these women get their pull up. That's all I've been doing. We've just been refining our systems. We make sure as there's more people coming in, you want to make sure that the quality stays really high. So we're just like training coaches and making sure that like every single person's getting feedback while they're in there. So definitely a lot of that focus. I told you guys before this, I actually taken my recovery era because I had gotten some blood work done. My energy levels were super low. And I'd realized that there's been stuff with like my thyroid and some hormonal stuff. So what I've had to do is actually spend the time recovering, which can be really hard for
Very
people to
tough.
do, especially like someone like me. So right now, my goal is just honestly to get all my energy levels back and figure out what, which is now definitely happening now. And then once I do that, I got to figure out what I want to do. I've always kind of wanted to like beat the pull-up world record because I think I can. But I don't know. I have to think of some cool thing that I can focus on.
I think you should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Send it.
wonder what the record is for women.
I think it's like 39 or something. Maybe it's 30. No, 39. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if I really put the focus on it, I could do it.
You could definitely do
And
it.
if you ever see the pull-up world records, it's kind of annoying because like they're like half
Is it
pull-ups.
a lot
Have
of
you seen-
kipping, or
Yeah.
is it?
They're
it's
like they
half?
didn't define what a pull-up was, I guess, in the Guinness World Record thing. So it's literally like some of them are like these like weird.
Oh
like-
my
I'm like
gosh.
that
Really?
doesn't count.
Dang.
I
Yeah.
think you could definitely break it.
Yeah. So that could be fun if once I heal my thyroid.
This has been an awesome combo. Where should we send the Meat Mafia to come check out more of your content?
Yeah, you can go over to either at Pull Up Revolution. That's where literally all the pull-up transformations are on there if you want to see it. Or you can go at Angela_Gargano. And we host free pull-up workshops every single month. So if you want to come in and just, I always tell people, even if you don't want to get a pull-up, like come in and just get super motivated because we're going to teach you a ton of things to help your mindset and get you past your limiting beliefs of just so many different things in life. That's a great place where we can literally hang out. I love saying
Is
that.
it Harry loves a good pun. So,
I love puns. Yeah.
so just women, or can men go too?
Men do come in
Okay.
and they do to join in on there as well, but typically it's a lot of women.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
It might
you
actually
want-
be good for men to go then. If
Yeah.
you're
Should I do like a singles one? Yeah.
That would be amazing. Like a little
Awesome.
dating show.
well, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. A huge piece of why I wanted to come on your podcast specifically is I know you guys are focused on like bigger things like longevity and things along those lines. So while a pull-up is like a skill, I really feel like it goes hand in hand with you living that higher quality life, with you getting that better grip strength so that you can get up off the floor. And, you know, again, we're not trying to just live till we're like 80 or whatever now. We're trying to like thrive.
Trying to
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's why what you're teaching is so important. So we just really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela.